Welcome to Hockey Off the Turf. We are your hosts, Beanie and Mary. First, I want to discuss the game last Friday, the Richmond Collegiate versus Norfolk Academy game. But first, last Friday, the field was dedicated to you.
Yeah, it was a special honor. I still floored at the whole entire day, and I knew there was going to be a little procedure after the game itself. But when I saw the people like Preston White, who is near and dear to me, he was helped me back in the '90s coaching, and when he got up to speak and the endowment that he started an endowment academy, and that's just in my name. It meant the world. He's such a wonderful man, and I was overwhelmed for sure. There were so many people there.
How long did it last after the game?
It was only about 20 minutes. And, I don't like public speaking. I like to shy away from it. However, I saw the little girls' faces, the NA girls, and they were just so dejected from the game. I mean, they lost a heartbreaker of a game.
Yeah.
And the mama coach of me came out, and I was like, you don't worry about that. Put it behind you, and you get them next time, and get fired up for next week. And it was a hard day for them. But I felt the love from the girls.
Yeah. What is the full name of the field?
It's on the scoreboard. It says Werkheiser Field, but there's a plaque at the other end that says Mary B. Werkheiser.
Okay, that's what I thought. I heard. Tell me,
Chad.
I was going to call him Chuck. That's what I thought Chad said at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And I was there for the first half, and I thought, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It was
The first half was, I thought, NA dominated.
Yeah, they
and
were
played
so
really,
well.
really well. And so when I left at the beginning of the third quarter. It was 1-1. And then I texted Kara, the official, when I got home. I said, please text me the final score because I wanted to know for us. And she's like, I can't text you. I got to call you and tell you what happened. And I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking what she told me. So basically, at the end of the game, with 40 seconds or I don't know exactly.
29 seconds left on the clock.
Okay, there was a corner called for Richmond Collegiate. Norfolk
Yes.
Academy's defensive corner unit was out there. And Kara told me, she told the defensive unit, the buzzer's going to go off. You need to play to the final whistle. And then she walked up to the top of the circle and said the same thing to the attacking team. And then she said she went back down and told the defense again. Okay, so then the corner goes. She says the ball hit the pads and then bounced off. Then the buzzer went. And then the NA girls just started celebrating.
They jumped up and down.
As she said, dropped their sticks.
Collegiate had their sticks on the ground and put it back in.
Yeah, and she said goal. So then they tied it 2-2, and then Collegiate scored in overtime.
Yeah, that was there were no time on the clock. That was such a momentum buster because they were dominating. They were playing really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that if you're going to learn that rule, learn it during the season as opposed to postseason.
Right.
When you lose, you're done.
That's what I talked to a couple people about. And looking back, I'm hoping Natalie and the rest of the coaching staff has taken this into perspective that, and the big result is it really doesn't matter.
Right.
Because they're going to see them in postseason. So if you're going to learn that lesson right, that was the game to learn it.
Absolutely. I just, after the game was that little procedure they did for me, and I just sat there looking at those little faces, and there was tears just flowing down, and they played their hearts out.
They did. I mean, they looked really, it's probably the best I've seen them look, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's good.
Alex Curtis, who's their top player, they did a really good job of holding her down.
Yeah.
And not letting her execute inside the circle and all that. But yeah.
Who is the little, I think she's an 8th grader forward.
Yeah. Is it Kaylee?
I don't know.
Something like that. She is a player to watch for the future.
Oh my gosh. She is she's a spitfire.
She is. I remember watching her at Nexus for Relentless, and I'm like, "Who's that?" She just caught my eye.
And she's itty bitty right now. She's in 8th grade.
Itty bitty, but a lot of confidence because she had the game winner in overtime. She took the ball. It was a nice pass from the back to her, and we had a player marking her, but she wheeled right around her and took a shot, and it went.
What game winner?
For Collegiate.
Oh, okay.
She was the one that put it in overtime, and I want to say it was the first 3 minutes of the overtime.
Who won in overtime?
Richmond Collegiate.
Okay, the girl I'm talking about plays for Norfolk Academy.
Oh, who are you? Oh, I thought you were talking about Little Hester on the collegiate
No,
girl.
I think it's number 4 for NA. She played right forward.
Oh, that is an eighth grader. That's Verity Huddleston. Her
Oh
two
my,
older sisters played,
Sydney.
and Sydney and Ashley, and they're playing at American now.
Okay.
And little Vivi, who's been juggling a hockey ball on the sidelines, she's now coming into her own.
I mean,
She's a
she
spark
starts in
plug.
overtime.
Yes,
Yeah,
she's
there's
a
another
spark
eighth
plug.
grader too on that team.
Aniston.
Okay.
And
She plays.
well, the two of them together are so good because Verity's the little risk taker, hustler. Aniston's the one that always has her back.
Yeah.
And the two of them are going to be pretty dynamic to watch through the years.
But number 4, I'd probably see more because I think she's pretty dynamic for being so
Yes.
young. But she always catches my eye. And I remember I talked to Catherine. I'm like, how old is she? Like, she looks like she's 10.
Yeah.
Did she used to keep your book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
always had the sixth graders who were wanting to play hockey, new club, knew how to play the game and all that. They were doing our books. So
Awesome.
she's learned a lot.
So we'll talk about hockey in the second part of the podcast. But today we're going to discuss this thing that college coaches, and selectors look for when they are recruiting players or selecting players for certain teams.
You and I both know a lot about this.
Yeah. So the first one I have is, and this is probably even as a high school coach, you look for is just good basic fundamental skills. It's essential really in any sport. Teens achieve more than as an individual. You
Yes.
can't play as an individual.
Yeah.
Agree with that?
Absolutely. You got to keep, the ball on your stick. And the first touch in hockey to me is the most important skill.
Mm-hmm.
If your touch is the ball's off your stick, it's going to go to a defender.
Right.
And the girls that manage that are the ones that I've seen gone on to the next level.
Right. And you really don't have to, and I do anything fancy to
No.
move on.
No.
We talk, I know a lot of the coaches here, club coaches, high school coaches, maybe teach that reverse stick hit. And I never taught it. I never wanted my girls to use it because I felt like it becomes a crutch. Like I would have girls, you
Yes.
see girls at the collegiate level, and I had one particular girl on my team who it was taught in club that she played right wing for me,
Right.
and she would literally dribble to the left just so she could do a reverse stick
Reverse
instead of
stick.
hitting off her strong foot.
I think I remember that player.
Loved her. Loved
yes.
her.
Yes.
And Haley has a reverse stick, never used it in high school and rarely used it in college.
Well, I think it's a good skill to have,
Oh, yeah.
but not to monopolize. Like you're right. There are certain players that oh, she's going left, and lo and behold, she does, and you just mark her according to that.
Right. And a lot of, I remember a couple girls Haley played with Duke, mostly European players.
Yeah.
They would literally carry the ball from right to left to do that reverse. I mean,
Yeah.
even passing, everything was,
Yeah.
you need that. Like a left back needs a reverse stick
Right.
pass. Anyway, I think but you don't need to have that. You don't have to be fancy. Receive, be able to pass and receive efficiently.
25 minutes of every practice I ever had, starting in 1990s till now, it was always 20 minutes of fundamentals.
Mhm.
And you
And I
could
always
see
start off with
them
that pass.
get better as the season progressed.
Right. And footwork and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Number 2, I have being a great communicator.
Yeah.
Team requires a good level of communication, not just within the team, but like with the coach. Good communication, honest communication, talking on the field while the game's going on, even in practice. Like if you do that in practice, you're going to do it in a game. If you don't do it in practice, you're not going to do it.
I think that's the hardest thing for a kid to do is to communicate while they're playing. And it's a lot of responsibility for the kids' part, but they've got to, Mia Clarkson, now goalkeeper at Penn State, she's probably the top communicator I've ever had because she was talking, the ball be 100 yards away and she's talking to her defense and she's talking to
Yeah.
everybody.
I remember doing the games last year, and I think I told you, like, I can't believe how much she talks. Like, she doesn't
Yes.
stop talking.
Right.
I mean, you guys can be up 6-0,
And she's still talking.
She's still
Yeah.
going. I had a couple goalies, both the Joneses, Katie and Kimmy Jones,
Yeah.
were and it's interesting because Katie's first year as a goalie was a freshman for me,
Oh, wow.
but she was so athletic. Like, she
Uh-huh.
got good really, really quick. And she did all the things. Like, she started playing club immediately. She, all the stuff. And Kimmy was like that too, because Kimmy was 3 years younger. They never played together. So Katie was a senior when Kimmy was an 8th grader. They were 4 years separate.
Okay.
And Haley played with both of them. And they were both equally good. But I also think it's important, especially your central midfielder, to communicate.
Oh, yes.
And your center back. 'Cause
Yes.
they see the entire field.
The center of the field is so important. Those people got to be strong communicators, whether it's on attack or defense.
Right. It is nice though if you get more than just those two people
Yeah.
communicating, like talking where someone's on your left shoulder, someone's on your right shoulder, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's tough if you don't have that, but it's also important. I do think that you have a communication, good communication with your coaching staff.
Right.
Okay. Being a team player, and this is a lot of things. Trust your teammates to achieve success. Also, I think holding each other accountable is very important. And there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's one thing, and I used to always say this, as a coach to hold your players accountable, but you need to do that as well.
Yeah.
But I think it always meant more when a player made you accountable.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
I agree. Sometimes it had to come from the kids.
Yeah.
I can remember at Academy, I never had the kid that would hold on to the ball too long. I didn't have a lot of them. The selfish player that,
Right.
Would wheel and deal and take it through 4 players and all that. At club, yes, I did have that. But they needed to see, I was always telling the Academy kids, you could be a little bit more selfish and take, we need this goal. There's not a lot of time on the clock. You got the stick skills. Let's go.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah, you got to trust your teammates. If you don't have that trust,
Yeah.
then you're playing. I always say, if you're not going to pass the ball to 3 of your teammates, then you're playing 9 against 11 or 8 against 11.
Right. But I think there is an element of being selfish. There were certain teams that you probably had, and I know that I had, where we weren't solid 10 on
Right.
the field. And, the score is 2-1 or whatever it is. Certain kids who were able to do things. I remember telling Brooke Hills, I'm like, okay, you're 5 yards from the top of the circle. Why are you passing it?
Right.
Take it in and shoot.
Yes.
And but because they are unselfish players, it took a while of me talking her through that. I'm like, keep the ball, and you got one kid to beat.
Right.
And she finally, and I've probably had a handful of players that I've had to say, be more selfish.
Right.
Because they're not, they don't want to
Just not their demeanor.
Yeah. Where are we at? Okay. Mental toughness.
Oof.
Yeah. People don't work on this one, I don't
No.
think. It's being committed, persistent, and staying motivated when things aren't going well. That's
Yes.
what's difficult for, I think, a lot, not just hockey, but a lot of athletes in general. I do think girls in particular, when things don't go your way,
I seen a lot of teams. I know Cox has gone through it. Academy's gone through it, that have lost some big key games. And you see a lot of teams that just, that's it, we're done. They kind of give
Mhm.
up. But I've seen Cox, I've seen Academy, I've seen First Colonial in the past that have used those tough moments as moments to learn.
right.
And they come back stronger than ever. Trying to relay that to an average 15-year-old who's like, this lady talking about.
Mhm.
But I think if you don't have mental toughness, you're not going to be playing in November.
Right. Also, on a collegiate level, I've seen it where the ones that have it and the ones who don't have it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let's say you're an all-star at your high school and you're their top recruit and you go to wherever, UVA, and you're not playing much freshman year. Like that, some kids it can affect in a really in a bad way. Other kids like kind of feed into it. And I have a personal experience with that. Just feed into it, go talk to the coach,
Right.
and they get better and better and better and better, and it works out for them. There's a girl now, she's a freshman in Indiana, and she ended up being redshirted, but she didn't know that. She just wasn't getting any playing time. She wasn't dressed into practice. She didn't know what was going on. And then she had a conversation with her coaches, and it was all explained to her, and she is redshirting, and she's happy as a clam. Like,
And
now
I
she knows.
I think that's a key point because at the high school level, I have to stay engaged with the players to see if they're unhappy. They're not going to come to me a lot of times
Right.
based on their age. So I'm like, okay, I know you're not happy about your playing time and blah, 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 and talk them through it. Whereas at the college level, the coaches don't talk to the players unless the players go to the coach.
Right.
And I'm like, you've got to be able to go to your coach. They're just,
Yeah.
they recruited you. They want you, obviously. Now you got to find out what's missing.
And I feel like I don't know. I would think most college coaches would have an open door policy, or would they meet with
Yes.
their athletes fairly often. That
Yeah.
is their only job.
Right.
And there's 3 or 4 coaches on every coaching staff. So ones that I do know personally do meet with and personally, I know Haley at Duke, whenever she wanted to have a conversation, that conversation was had.
Yeah.
anyway, I
That's a nice thing I say, because I can tell you from my own personal experience back in the 80s, none of that went on. Like none of the coaching players meet. We never had any meetings.
I never met
You
my
never
coach.
knew. You never knew where you stood. If
Mm-mm.
I got in, I was like, "Thanks, coach." I was like, if I didn't get in, which was most of the time, well, I knew why.
Where'd you play again?
Lockhaven.
Lockhaven. That's right. That's right. Number 5, I say, would confidence. And this is important in any sport, probably actually any job, anything in life.
Yeah,
Most important to excel at sports, though, I think, is confidence.
yeah,
That's tough too. That's something that can't. That I don't want to say you're born with, but it's kind of you build it as you're growing up.
and I think as a coach, I didn't put a lot of emphasis into that in the beginning, but at the end of my career, I realized that, you know, instilling confidence in your players is key, but they've got to have it themselves to begin
Yeah.
with.
I think it was hard too at our level, the high school level. By the time we get them, it's either
Yes.
there or it isn't.
Right.
You know, a
Very
lot of
true.
times. And I had a lot of girls who were good players, but they were not real confident. And you
it
can kind of
also-
see it on their face when
It
they make a
plays
mistake.
into sport to sport. Like they have all the confidence in the world on the hockey field, but then they get to another sport and they don't. And I'm like, no, your confidence doesn't wane. You keep fighting out there.
Right, right. Okay, decision making. In sports, you make instinctive decision. If under pressure and fear of making a mistake, you usually do. Manage your emotions and stay calm. Hockey, we can speak to because I feel like there's so much going on. And you got to be looking for like the next play,
Yeah. Yes.
like the next
Yes.
pass,
Yes.
and moving off of that.
Yes.
So there are so many decisions that you have to make. And when you talk to college coaches and high school coaches, they'll say like, Mary makes really good decisions or Mary doesn't make very good.
Right.
And you can almost kind of see it too if you're watching a high school game or any game that like a free hit center back and she hits it right down the middle to their forward.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Great hit, but what are you
Right.
thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. The kids on the sideline, great hit, great hit. I'm like, no, it's not. Where did it go?
Right. Consistency, very important. This comes from both mental and physical preparation. And I do think college coaches and selectors definitely look for this.
Yeah.
I remember, and again, I can only speak to Haley, but she was really young. I think she was on the U17 national team. And I think she was 15. And she was at I think everything changes yearly.
Right.
I don't even know what she was at. I want to say a practice, a national team camp. I don't know. She wasn't on the team yet though. And I was talking to Ainsley Lamb, who was the Boston College coach. And she said, I don't know if Haley's consistent enough or not.
Right.
She's 14. Of course
Yes.
she's not. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But that was interesting that she could pick up on that. Like she'd have a great game.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right.
Yeah.
And that was also, I noticed an age thing for her because as she got older, that changed considerably.
Right.
She was extremely consistent at the end of her career. They do look for that at obviously every age.
I can tell you just from a couple that the consistency, Joji Purdy, like they're looking at her to put the ball in the back of the net. They're looking at her to create corner situations. And she did it sometimes and not other times. And
For you or at Penn State?
for me,
Uh-huh.
and or actually it wasn't for me, it was for club or Nexus or whatever.
Right.
But and that was like her sophomore year, and junior year she was steadily making corners happen or scoring goals. Her percentage of ball in circle and ending up with a goal was very high.
That's also maturity. And also
Yes.
probably like, okay, I do want to play in college. Like, I need to
Right.
be really serious about this.
Yeah.
Good fitness, especially in field hockey. This is such a huge part of the hockey. The game is so demanding of the body. Most teams win and lose games at every level in the last 5 or 10 minutes, especially a close game.
Yeah. I experienced that last Friday.
Last 30 seconds. Okay, speed. True of attacking players. Useful, I mean, everybody really, but it's also useful for defensive players as well. Speed can create very dangerous attack.
Can't coach speed.
No.
Can't coach it. If you have that player, and I'd love to put the fastest player in the right wing
Mm-hmm.
and strengthen her ball skills. To me, that's a corner situation every time.
Yeah.
And I love speed.
Yeah. Reagan Bonnewell, right when I
Yes.
was talking about. She was interesting. Her 9th grade year, she made varsity, and I don't know. I don't even know how tall Reagan is now. Maybe 5'3", 5'4". She was like 4'11".
Mhm.
her freshman year. Really good, had great skills.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I kept her on varsity, I thought she was going to start for me
Uh-huh.
because her skills were great. Um, Man, she was slow, so slow. It's because she was so small.
Ah,
And then I noticed it at indoor, and then coming into her sophomore year, I think she was 5'3". She grew like 4 inches, put on 10, 15 pounds, completely different player.
yeah.
She went from not playing to being first team all state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, her
That's quite a
skills were
jump.
there. So if
Yeah.
she was just doing stationary things, I mean, she
Right.
looked fantastic. But then she's gonna beat anybody. She's
Yeah.
at his speed. So yeah, very important. Okay, you talk to the next couple.
Vision. I think ability to see through a pass, read the game, anticipate what was going to happen next is so key. That needs to be the team player, the player that can already receive the ball and know where the next pass is. You see so many times that the kids get the ball, their heads down, and then they don't know where to pass.
And they look up.
And then they look up and they're being tackled. But that vision of before you get that pass, know where the ball's going to go to, position yourself.
Right.
And I think if you can get, that's a key for college coaches.
Yeah, for sure. And that's also a tough one to teach.
Yes.
I think though, once your skills catch up with you and they're really, really good, you're really good at the basics, I think the vision then comes because you can look up before you receive the ball.
Yeah. And the more they play and the more they, I like to preach multi-sport athleticism, but the more you play the game, whether it's basketball or you start to see those kinds of things and they can transfer over.
It's funny you say that. I feel like Haley's senior year, I think almost all of her played all three, played at least two.
Mhm.
She played three in high school, and it was hard, but she did it.
Right.
Even she made the national team. She still, I mean, she missed a lot during basketball season, but she did it, and the coaches understood it. Now, I don't think that's so much a thing.
No.
Very few kids, I think, play three sports.
Right. Right. And, I coached basketball for a number of years, and I would tell the forwards that you need to box out your defenders so that you can get the ball. And players that didn't know basketball, box out, what's that mean? You had to go through and all that. But the kids that play different sports get the language.
Yeah, right,
So,
right. Okay.
let's see, the next one, parents. Oh, I have a story on this one. Even though it's the kid that's being recruited, coaches look at the parents and they look at what their actions are on the sideline, how they're behaving. My own personal story, and my daughter, who's now in her 30s, she was being recruited by a coach in Virginia. And I was standing with the head coach, and he was watching the team play. And my husband, after the game, proceeded to tell my daughter that she wasn't meeting his expectations, and he was really letting her have it. And the coach I was standing with says to me, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's my husband." And at that point, my daughter was no longer being recruited by that school. And I have seen it with other players as well. They just don't want to bother with the parent drama. They've got their kids on the college team, and that's what they're prepping. I mean, they have a lot more pressure than a high school coach. They've got to produce victories. They've got to get to, their finals and their conference championship. A lot of high schools don't have that. Coaches don't have that pressure. But parents are a huge part of the recruiting process, especially at like the Big Ten and the ACC and even ODAC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember when Haley was being recruited, because they want parents there. The unofficial, like it was always me and Haley or Jeff and Haley. And that's one thing the coaches would always say, we recruit the family, not just the kid. And I'll leave it at that. And I mean, it makes sense because I know some college coaches who have had to deal hard with some parents. And it's unfortunate that you, as a parent, I wasn't this way, but I don't know how you are stepping in for your 20-year-old daughter.
And I was shocked, like, as I've had more kids play at the college level, I've got to know the coaches and talk with them and all that. And I was shocked. I remember talking to Michelle Madison up at UVA, and she was dealing with parent trauma.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that parents would actually have the audacity to call. I mean, she's an Olympian. She's it's crazy. But it's not easy to deal with.
No. I've had some conversations with Pam at Duke, and I can talk about them with you off the air, but it's shocking. It was very shocking. Yeah.
And I always told the kids in high school that if you're having an issue with playing time or, whatever, if you can't come to the coach and talk to me, then how am I going to put you in the game more? If you're afraid of me,
Right.
and because I'm a huggy, like, I might get in your face, but then I'm going to hug you afterwards.
Right.
And so that's a huge component, the parent part.
Yeah. I would also say as a kid going to all these trips, recruiting trips, that you really have to like your coach.
Yes.
The coaching staff, not just the coach, but the coaching staff, because it isn't just your head coach. I mean, because all three coaches, whatever they have, are all heavily involved in you.
Right.
And one thing that I valued about Pam, and there's several other college coaches out there too, but I could see and she always wanted to go to Duke, but she went through so much that she was very invested in the athlete, not just in the kid,
Right.
In every way, which was so nice. And there's several of them out there too, but I mean, I think it's important. You just don't want to go to a school because you want to go to, wherever,
Right.
UVA, UNC, or Duke. You really have to, I think, really like the coach, because, I mean, you're with them.
Right.
That becomes your family.
You say that, and reminds me of Casey's coach at Limestone, Lindsay Jackson, who's now up at Holy Cross. And when Casey was playing at Limestone, and I don't know how she did it, but she had 46 kids on that squad and traveled with 46 kids.
Wow.
And I'm like, if I had 46, the last 20 aren't getting in the game, or the
Right.
last 25. How do you keep them happy? And she was very direct as far as her relationship with each of the kids. They knew where they stood and what they needed to do and all that. And I always admired that quality in her as far as being able to get to 46 players and keep that team happy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was an army.
I don't know how you practice with 40.
I don't know either. Yeah.
All
But-
right.
And the last one, depending on how you look at this, unfortunately or fortunately, size matters. And I have had players that have been so talented for me, and either the college coaches were like, she's too little, or she's too big, or she's something. It matters. They're looking for their certain type build.
Mm-hmm.
And God, that I can think of 4 players off the top of my head that they're such great field hockey players for me at Norfolk Academy, but they couldn't get to that next level size, whether they were too small or too big.
Like next size at all?
I'm sorry?
They didn't play in college at all?
No, they did. They did play, but it wasn't at
Where they want to go?
where they wanted to go. They had
Yeah.
to settle for another school. And I can remember, begging one coach to take this kid. Like, she's my starting, back then we had sweepers, and she was my starting sweeper, and nothing got by her. And it was a lot of times, it wasn't like we always were on the attacking end. And she kept the ball out of the circle. She kept the ball from, like, we had minimal corners, and they were like, she's not really what we're looking for in a defender. And I'm like, but this girl can play. And she went on to play Stanford.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's unfortunate. So being a great hockey player is much more than great skills. There's a lot of things.
yeah.
Okay, our Chick Farm Player of the Week. Her name is Sammy Terry. She is a sophomore goalie from Cox High School. Taylor Roundtree said she's the heart and soul of her defense. They played great bridge. They beat them in overtime?
Yes.
Double
Was
overtime?
overtime.
Okay, 5 saves in the Great Bridge game, hold them to their first scoreless win game. First
Wow.
game Great Bridge hasn't scored. Actually, the day before that, Great Bridge beat Hickory.
Yes.
Overtime?
No, I think it was regulation.
Okay, I can't remember now. And I actually talked to Ashley, the head coach at Hickory, after that, but I can't remember. Okay, we're now going to take a break and hear from our friends from CHKD, Pain and Gain, and The Vault.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Yes! Oh, here we go. Here we go. Boom. First down. Let's go.
Rosen's on time. Touchdown, Texas.
Any gate can be a tailgate.
Authentic Italian cuisine can be found in just one place in Hampton Roads, Il Giardino Ristorante in Virginia Beach. Il Giardino offers veal, seafood, chicken, pasta, vegetarian, and pizza creations. Add the sounds of the piano bar and lounge, and it's no wonder Il Giardino is such a popular local spot. Open daily at 5 p.m.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Kova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit kovapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
Hey, and welcome back to Off the Turf with Beanie and Mary. We're going to do our weekly top 10 for the week of October 5th. Tab High School, still undefeated. They're playing, evidently, some really good hockey. I'm not sure who they're playing, but we have them again at number 1.
Yeah, and they're ranked, 18 nationally?
Yes, they're the only school locally ranked in the national rankings.
Yeah.
2 schools from Richmond are in the rankings, but so hopefully.
I think NA will get in there eventually.
Yeah, well, postseason, we'll see. They'll rise.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think the experience helps. So, but we have NA at number 2. They're very steady. They lost 2 heartbreaking games against Collegiate and Trinity, but those are teams that are ranked in the top, I think, top 10 nationally.
Well, and I've seen both those games, and I really think they got the better of them. I think, like we already talked about the Collegiate game, that was just, that was a young mistake, and they'll learn from that for sure. That'll never happen again. And that, in Trinity, I actually officiated that game, and I thought they played better.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate. It went to overtime, which is, and Trinity scored a minute 20 left to tie it.
Right.
Go into overtime, kind of same thing with Collegiate.
And those are the games you learn so much at.
Yeah.
Because you're having tough adversity. We just talked about it. Yeah.
I think it'll actually fuel them for postseason.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And then number 3, Cox, who's been very steady. I like watching their game flow. They've had a good game flow. I think they have problems with who's that one player that's going to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But they do have a nice team opponent.
They beat Great Bridge, like you said, overtime. They played Chancellor today. He's undefeated.
Yes, I want to watch that
At
game.
3 o'clock. I can watch, I think, 30 minutes of that before
Yeah.
I gotta leave. But that should be a good game. I don't know anything about Chancellor. I don't know who they play. I don't know.
Then at number 4, we have Great Bridge, Katie Duke, who is really getting her team primed and ready for postseason, followed by number 5, Hickory. I watched the Hickory Catholic game and was impressed by both of the games there. Number 6, Nansemond River.
Yep.
And what's the one thing you would say, Bean, as far as, I know our rankings are very different, not very different, but they're slightly different than the gentleman who does it at the Pilot. What do you think about their ratings versus?
I think they're not watching games.
Right.
I'm not even sure they know hockey. Honestly. I feel like, and ours changed a little bit, but not really. I think
Right.
based on the game scores, we're spot on.
Yeah.
Now, if Hickory would have beaten Great Bridge, that was a really close game too. We would have switched that. But if Great Bridge would have beat Cox,
Yeah.
maybe not. So I think we're spot on. Hickory beat Nansemond River by 1.
Yeah.
And it was a back and forth game. So I think we're probably more accurate, honestly.
Because I noticed in the paper rankings, they had Nansemond River at 4, which.
And I don't think they have Hickory ranked.
No.
Yeah,
So,
or they're not paying attention, and not just the scores, but like actually going to the games and watching the games. Like you and I are going to. I'm an officiating ton, but I'm also just going to a lot,
right.
And then talking to people, and we're tag teaming and things like that. So I've seen the only ones I don't really get to see, and I've seen some, would be Pocosin, Gloucester, other side of the water.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to go off scores there
Yes.
and who they're playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which brings us to number 7, Pocosin. And I know they have a lot of nice players on the team. I've noticed that a lot of those names are in Nexus and all that. But they have, I'm sure they're going to be a team that's going to do an upset at the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, they don't play Cox, Great Bridge. I don't think. I haven't seen it. And I'm looking quite often. Cox, Great Bridge, Hickory. They may play Nansemond River. I don't know. They did play Gloucester. I think they have to. That they beat them 3-1. And they play Tab. They did lose to Tab, I think, pretty significantly. So maybe, yeah,
So
I don't know.
That'll probably be a matchup postseason then.
Yeah, no, because yes, they're in the same 2 or 3. I don't
Division.
know what they
Yeah.
are. I think postseason in 5 is going to be very interesting because all those teams, besides NAA, Cox, Great Bridge, Hickory, Nansemond River, are all 5.
Oh wow.
So that could, and all those games have been close.
Yeah.
There could be definitely some upsets there, and they rank you in the postseason based on like the record. It's not what you did in the beach or what you did in Chesapeake. It's what your overall record is. So in a lot of these teams, not Cox, not Hickory, I'd have to look at the records. But I bet you Cox, Great Bridge, and Hickory, in whatever order they go in, will be 1, 2, and 3 ranked.
Yeah.
Because let's finish. Go ahead.
Let's see. Number 8 is Gloucester, and finishing out number 9 is Catholic, who I watched their game the other day with Hickory. So that was a really good game, back and forth, and Hickory came out on top. But it wouldn't surprise me if Catholic moves up our ranking system. And then finally, FC, who Academy plays next Friday. I'll be at that game.
Oh, okay. That may be a good game. I don't know. Catholic, when they played First Colonial, it was tied. I didn't realize TCIS does one every time, and then you just tied.
Yes.
I kind of wish everyone would do that. But I talked to Lindsay after the game, and I saw a little bit of it, and I talked to the officials, and they said Catholic definitely outplayed them. But FC's got such a great goalie.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to score on her. So postseason will be very interesting. So this week coming up is the very last week of the regular season.
Right.
I think the 23rd is the last for everybody, whatever Friday is. And then we go into postseason, which starts that following week. And for 5A, which is all the teams except for Nansemond River, Cox, Great Bridge, Hickory, First Colonial, will be here. The games are here.
Okay,
and eight teams go. So it's going to be interesting to see how the matchups are going to go because, like I said, the rankings are like wins and losses. That's how you're seeded. So there can be some upsets early on.
Right.
Because there are some good teams who really have a really, like, Actually, Cox won't be one because they've played some really tough teams. That's going to help them in the long run. They
Yes.
played, besides the teams they beat, like Great Bridge,
Played Assumption.
Assumption. No, they didn't play Assumption. FC did. They played Norfolk Academy.
Okay.
They played,
We're playing Chancellor today.
right, and they've had a pretty tough schedule.
Yes.
And they've Richmond Collegiate, and they've lost those games, but I think that's going to help them in the long run.
Yes.
I do. I really do. I think Cox probably is the maybe. Did you watch the Cox Great Bridge game?
Yes. I
And you
did.
thought Cox dominated that game a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Cox completely dominated. They just, if you have a goal scorer, that's such an awesome commodity, but they lack that person that can
Right.
consistently.
Right. Yeah, I think the person who scored the winning goal was their
They're back.
mid. Yeah, they're back. Yeah. Was it off the corner?
Gosh, I can't remember.
But when you pack, it's hard when you pack the circle with defenders. I know it happened to me quite a bit. It's just hard. It's hard to score.
Yes.
Or
That's when I'm like, get the corner and get the
Yeah.
numbers up then.
right. But so we'll have our podcast next Friday, and then maybe one more after that, maybe two more, depending on when the state final is. But then our senior all-star game is set for November 19th here at 6:00. I'm still not done with everybody, so I'm not going to send that out yet. But no, it's at 6 p.m. here. It's going to be people from all 757 and the other side of the water. So make plans now to come. There will be a fee to get in, and that's always a really, really good time. We actually always have a lot of people. For that.
Yeah.
It's going to be our third year doing it. All right, that's it for me. You guys have a great week.